All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. Those that have been listening to the show would know every Friday morning when you wake up, an episode should be ready for you to listen to. This episode almost did not happen, and I'm going to walk you through the reason for that, and it relates me to the message that I want to send out today. It's a short message, but it's a very important one. Now, at the start of the week, it was becoming hard for me to talk. I noticed my voice was a bit croaky, and I essentially ignored it. I still went about my days with my appointments and my phone calls, and if anything, to be honest, I did more than I usually would even. And come Wednesday, my voice was almost gone, and it was hard to talk. It was frustrating. It was frustrating for me, frustrating to those that I was talking to, because they could tell that my voice was disappearing, and they probably couldn't really understand most of what I was saying properly either. And it got to a point where on Wednesday, it literally was almost gone, and I had no choice but to obviously rest it. Tonight, I'm talking to you, it's a Thursday night, and as you can tell, it's not 100%, but it's there. I was at a conference today, and I was talking to a colleague about the situation with my voice, and it just got me thinking about clients and certain situations that I have seen in people's financial situation, where there was an issue and they ignored it, completely ignored it, went about their daily routines and got themselves into a situation where they sort of regretted it. This can be, and I'll give you two examples when I've actually seen this in practice. And the first situation I can think of is somebody racking up debts where they know they're pretty bad at managing their money, and as a result of that, they have to take on debt. Could be a small credit card, and then they need another credit card and another credit card, and then they consolidate their credit cards, so they end up with a loan, and then they get another little loan over here because I don't want any more credit cards. Credit cards are bad news, and then end up with another loan, and they have no choice but to get another credit card, and it just snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets so big to a point where they think, okay, maybe we should contact someone, and that's normally when I'm contacted. Or even worse, they just ignore their debts. And obviously the result of that becomes more complicated, we'll say. It could lead to bankruptcy. It could lead to ridiculous debt, stress levels. You know, I did an episode a few weeks ago about whether financial advice is worth paying for. And I mentioned a few statistics around, you know, financial strain and the effect that has on someone's mental health. So that's one part of the side of things, and of the situation, and of this bad habit, I'll call it, of just literally ignoring things and just letting them get bigger. The second one is when somebody actually is in a very good financial position and they've got savings, and I've seen this in many situations where somebody will tell me they had really good savings, but again, they had bad habits and they let them grow, they ignored them, they continued doing what they were doing, and they got to a point where they used up all their savings and they had nothing left. The small message that I want to leave with you today is just to think about these situations and think about your life, your financial situation. Are you making habits which you know are not good? Are you doing things which you know you probably shouldn't do? Are you making decisions that you know are probably poor decisions, yet you're just ignoring them? And you're going about this day in, day out, or week in, week out. What I want you to do is just think about what is happening, what these habits are, and work on adjusting them or changing things so that you don't end up in a situation like me when I lost my voice, or a situation where somebody ends up with ridiculous debt levels, or they've used up all their savings, or, you know, and the idea is not to wait until it's too late to make a decision. The idea is to make a decision now, to work on these habits, to stop these habits. Sometimes it's as simple as just talking to your partner. In many cases, if not most, you should seek financial advice. Have a chat to an advisor. Have a chat to a professional, somebody that can help you in this situation. And I'll just put it out there. Normally taking on more debt, normally consolidating debt, noting that I'm not licensed to give advice on credit and that there's a whole new world when it comes to debt. I just have to say, normally a lot of solutions that I see are just Band-Aid solutions. They're just Band-Aid fixes. They don't fix the root cause, and the root cause is normally bad habits. So if any of what I'm saying relates to your situation, as I said, I just ask you to have a good think about it. Look at what you're doing, look at what you're not doing, and see what you can do to make sure that you don't get into that position where you lose your voice, or your money, or your sanity, or your freedom. Thank you for listening. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.